All right, Herc, time to put a bow on Christian Pulisic's time at Chelsea. How do we define the 4 seasons spent in the Premier League in London? You're going to give him a grade? Let's give him a grade here.
A B minus. I'll give him a B minus because I think when he was healthy and given a chance, he performed very, very well. He proved to be a very capable player. Listen, Chelsea doesn't go on that run, win the Champions League if not for Christian Pulisic and what he did versus Porto, what he did versus Real Madrid. He was an important player in that run. But it can't be just everybody else's fault and not Christian Pulisic's at some point when we look at the amount of coaches who at some point turned the other way. Whether it was Frank Yallop, whether it was Thomas Tuchel, who actually gave him his first team debut at Dortmund, whether it's Graham Potter or Frank Lampard again, at some point in his career, they kept looking the other way. So at some point, we have to turn around and ask Christian why that was, whether it was his physical ability to stay on the field, whether it was his play, whatever the case may be, it was incomplete. But when he played, he showed me enough for me to look at the general consensus of what an American player has been in Europe and think that he had a successful go. But it mainly hinges on that Champions League, really.
Yeah, made history. Won a Champions League, that's significant, as you said, played a role, won a FIFA Club World Cup. You know, if Pulisic looks back on his time, I think he's probably got, and I wonder if you agree here, more of a right to be disappointed in Chelsea than they have a right to be disappointed in him. I think they got quite a bit out of Christian Pulisic. You see some of the money that Chelsea has spent on players and gotten next to nothing in return. They got something out of Christian Pulisic. He's the one that I think can feel let down by the club. And you mentioned, Herc, all the managers that he had. Remember the manager that he didn't have, because remember he signed from Dortmund early in 2019 while Maurizio Sarri was still the manager. And remember, Sarri was like, I don't even know this guy. I don't want this guy. And I think that always conditioned Christian Pulisic at Chelsea. He was always the club's guy and never the manager's guy. And I wonder if he just was ever able to overcome that, how different his career at Chelsea would have been. Because to your point, man, we saw some really high water marks of Christian Pulisic. And it's hard to say, with all the things that he won, with all that was accomplished, that it was a failure. But it does feel like something there wasn't achieved. He didn't ever lock down that starting spot. And if you were ever on USMNT Twitter on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, you know that's all that American fans, along with Christian Pulisic, surely, Herc, wanted to see for his time in Chelsea. Lock down a starting spot and keep it. That would have been the ultimate goal.
You didn't give him a grade. What was it?
Would you give him a B minus? Gosh, that seems pretty harsh for a guy that won a Champions League, scored against Real Madrid in a Champions League semifinal. You know, I gotta blame Chelsea
look, this
a lot
isn't so easy, is it?
I gotta blame
you know
Chelsea
what, Seb?
a lot here.
I'm with you because Chelsea isn't free of blame here, and I'm sure Christian Pulisic isn't the only player to feel that way. I mean, you can go back down the list of Mohamed Salah, of Kevin De Bruyne, Lukaku, of Higuain, of El Niño, Torres. I mean, there's a long laundry list of players who can pick a bone with Chelsea, and more today, so they're not free of blame here. Yeah. But you need to give this guy a grade because you seem to be passing the buck here.
You cannot give him an A. I think I can't give him an A. Maybe I can give him a B+, but there's a few things. One, the transfer fee, right? He went for over 70 million. He gets sold. Of course, just 1 year left in the contract for 24. But to give somebody an A, they have to have, I guess, mastered the subject. And mastering the subject would be proving that you can dominate in that league. And I think at a club like Chelsea, really, if not dominate, lock yourself into a starting job. And if you didn't do that, you didn't master the subject. So I can't give you an A. I'll give him a B+. I'm a little more lenient than Herculez Gomez. I thought you would have been waving your Captain America flag here. Instead, you gave him a harsh B-, Herc, a harsh B-.
The wrong guy. It's not a harsh B-. No, because, listen, you can say what you want about Chelsea, but 4 different coaches overlooked them.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.